Some people destroy their lives with one bad decision. Others destroy it by never making one. This is the cost of silence. Before it happened, the safest thing you can ever do is stay exactly where you are, but safety is just a different kind of slow-motion tragedy. Elias didn't kill anyone. He didn't steal a fortune. He didn't even tell a lie. He simply stayed quiet when he should have spoken, and he spoke when he should have stayed quiet. Most people think life-changing moments arrive with sirens and screaming. For Elias, it arrived with the sound of a luxury sedan's blinker turning into a driveway in a neighborhood he couldn't afford. Elias worked in risk assessment. It was more than a job. It was a personality. He was a good man, a reliable man. He had a wife, Sarah, who worked as a freelance illustrator. They lived in a 2-bedroom rental in a part of Ohio where the sky stays gray for 8 months of the year. They were saving for a house, not a mansion, just a place where the floorboards didn't groan under their feet. Every night, Sarah would show him her sketches. Elias would nod, calculate the likelihood of her getting a contract, and tell her, "It's nice, honey." It happened on a Tuesday. The firm was celebrating a merger. Elias was standing by the bar, nursing a sparkling water, when he saw Julian. Julian was the firm's golden boy. He was everything Elias wasn't: impulsive, loud, and incredibly wealthy. Julian leaned in, smelling of expensive bourbon and confidence. "Elias," he said, "you're the numbers guy. Tell me, what's the risk of a miracle?" Julian told him about a private investment, a medical tech startup, not the kind you find on E-Trade. This was friends and family only. They were developing a non-invasive way to track glucose. It was going to change the world. More importantly, it was going to 10 times in 6 months. "I'm putting in everything," Julian whispered. "But the window closes at midnight. You want in? I can make the call." Elias did what he always did. He ran the numbers. He had $50,000 in their house fund. It was 5 years of skipped vacations, 5 years of Sarah working until 2 a.m. If Julian was right, that $50,000 became $500,000. They wouldn't just buy a house, they'd buy a life. No more maybe next year, no more gray Ohio winters. But Elias was a risk assessor. He knew the odds. He looked at his phone. He had a draft text to Sarah. "Julian offered me a seat at the table. It's a sure thing." He deleted it. He thought about the right thing to do, the responsible thing. If he asked Sarah, she'd say yes. She was a dreamer. She believed in glass forests. And because she believed, he had to be the anchor. He had to be the one to say no. But then he looked at his reflection in the rearview mirror. He saw a man who was 34 going on 60. He saw the gray in his beard and the way his suit didn't quite fit. For the first time in his life, Elias decided to be unsafe. He didn't call Sarah. He didn't want to worry her if it failed, and he wanted to surprise her when it won. He called Julian. "Do it," Elias said. "Transfer the funds." It felt right. It felt like he was finally taking the lead, like he was finally the hero of his own story. 6 months passed. The startup didn't 10 times. It didn't crash either. It just stayed quiet. Julian told him to be patient. "Science takes time, Elias. Relax." Elias couldn't relax. Every time Sarah talked about a listing she saw on Zillow, a cold spike of adrenaline hit his chest. "Not yet," he'd say. "Market's too volatile." He started working late, not because he had work, but because he couldn't sit on the couch and look at her without seeing the $50,000 hole in their bank account. He became a ghost in his own home. He was physically there, but his mind was always in a digital wallet, watching a ticker symbol that wouldn't move. Then, the miracle happened. The startup was acquired, not for 10 times, for 30 times. Elias sat in his office staring at a screen. His $50,000 was now $1.5 million. He had won. He didn't feel a rush of joy. He felt a sickening sense of relief that quickly curdled into something else. He had the money. He could tell her now. He imagined the scene. He'd take her out to dinner, hand her a key to a new house, and tell her he'd handled it all. He'd be the provider, the savior. But when he walked into the kitchen, Sarah was sitting at the table. She wasn't sketching. There was an envelope in front of her. "Elias," she said. Her voice was flat. "The landlord called. Our rent check bounced." Elias froze. That's impossible. I must have used the wrong account." "I went to the bank," she said. "I thought maybe there was a fraud alert. I thought someone had robbed us." She looked up at him. Her eyes weren't angry. They were hollow. "The teller told me the money was moved 6 months ago, all of it, to a private equity firm." Elias smiled. It was a frantic, terrifying smile. "Sarah, listen. I was going to tell you tonight. It worked. We have $1.5 million. We're rich. We can go anywhere." He waited for the hug. He waited for the tears of joy. They didn't come. "You took our future," she whispered, "and you didn't even think I deserved to know." "I did it for us," Elias shouted. "I did it so you wouldn't have to work at that gallery, so you could just paint." Sarah looked at him, and for the first time, Elias saw that he had assessed every risk except the one that mattered. "I didn't want to stop working, Elias. I wanted to be your partner. I thought we were building a life together, but you were just managing me." She didn't care about the $1.5 million. To her, that money was a monument to his lack of faith in her. It was the price tag of her husband's secret life. She realized that for 6 months, every "I love you," every dinner, every conversation about the future had been a performance. He had been living in a reality she wasn't invited to. She left that night. She didn't take any of the money. She didn't even take her portfolio. She just took her car and a suitcase. Elias bought the house. The floors don't groan. The sky isn't gray. He moved to the coast. He has the gold insurance plan now. He has the best risk assessment software money can buy. He sits in his glass house, watching the sun set over the ocean. He realizes that he made the most logical, safe, and profitable decision of his life. He ran the numbers, and the numbers were right. But sometimes, he finds himself looking at his phone, staring at the draft of a text he never sent. "Julian offered me a seat at the table. What do you think?" He wonders what would have happened if he had sent it. Maybe they would have said no. Maybe they'd still be in that drafty rental in Ohio. Maybe they'd be struggling to pay the rent this month. But he wouldn't be sitting in this silence. The cost of a miracle is often the very thing you were trying to save. Elias is a wealthy man, and he has never been more afraid of the risk of waking up tomorrow. This was what happened before it happened.